Hey, what is going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that is the digital asset space. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Happy Saturday. It is June the 11th at 11:20 a.m., 11:20 a.m. Central Time. I have been patiently hoping and praying that my internet service would improve. It has not. It perhaps has improved just enough. We'll see. We'll see. Because I really wanted to share a video with you guys that I think is massively significant in understanding the bigger picture of what's going on with XRP and the XRP ledger. And I wanted to share that with you guys. So hopefully we can get through. Basically, I wanted to share a video and kind of go through it bit by bit, because I think it's, again, I really do believe this is the answer. This is where we're going. This is why XRP and why the XRP ledger. And it is one of those writing on the wall, right? If you're paying attention, it's one of those writing on the wall videos. I really do believe it. Listen, we're going to go with the market because the market is doing what the market does. Absolutely crazy. Consensus is going on in my hometown, not my hometown, but where we have my hometown, I guess you could say. And yeah, interesting stuff there. For sure. We have an event this weekend, so I won't be attending. I tried to see if I can make it, but I can't. So yeah, and I'm just taking about a half hour away from that to even do this video. So, but yeah, market doing what the market does. We'll go over that, but I really do think I'm going to share some Twitter stuff with you as well. But I just think that because John Deaton put out some really great stuff, I just think this video really says a lot about XRP, the XRP ledger. We just got to pay attention to it, right? You just got to pay attention, because I believe this video from that dude, Darren Moore Jr., I got to tell you, this guy is a dude who just continues to bring amazing content, awesome researcher, but, a really nice dude. I've had a chance to kind of converse with him back and forth from a couple of spaces that he's in and we're in together. And I just think he's, like this video is the truth. This dude is the truth. And that's what I'm going to name. The title of this video is going to be Darren Moore is that dude, right? Or Darren Moore is the truth. You got to check out this video. So in any case, guys, I'm going to get into it. This is your XRP Ripple daily news in around 0 to 10 minutes. And again, I apologize for the internet. It's just not great, but hopefully we can make it work. So look, according to CoinGecko, the Bitcoin dominance is at 45, guys, 0.6%. That's a terrible number for all coins. The total cryptocurrency market cap is at 1.19 trillion. In 24 hours, it's down 6%. Bitcoin is currently trading at, and by the way, the overall total cryptocurrency market cap hit over 3 trillion at one time. And it's currently at 1.19 trillion. And right, with the bill going on, this new crypto regulation bill, hopefully that will get passed, right? Financial, innovation or whatever, I don't even know what it's called, from Senator Lummis and Senator Gillibrand. Consensus is going on, yet this market is just brutal, right? Absolutely brutal. And it must be the inflation. It must be the uncertainty in the market. Has to be. But in any case, Bitcoin is at $28,328. Again, Ethereum is at $1,525. $1,500 for Ethereum. XRP is at 36 freaking cents. Again. Double figure reds everywhere you turn. Everywhere you turn. And for the experienced swing traders, I know this is interesting times for sure, because if it's down 28%, and if the market's going to recover, for example, if it's going to recover, then you can make a 20% win, right? So it's unfreaking believable. Double figure reds everywhere you go, guys. It's brutal. Red, it's bleeding without question. It's just a brutal time in the digital asset space. And who knows if it's going to recover. I told you guys we've been risk off, right? for sure, right? Setting up the glint pay, getting more gold, getting more stables, increasing our stable position, for sure, taking the dirty nasty fiat and adding more and more every chance we get to dividend paying cash value policies, right? To kind of establish that, that 5 to 7% return on the money that compounds tax rate. Yeah, it's a really, really cool deal. So here it is, guys. The market is doing what the freaking market does. John Deaton shares something, and I think it's important. I'm going to go over this. I think it's massively important. This guy, Tipsy Tiger, shared something from Ripple, and it kind of goes back to kind of documenting what took place in 2013. Ripple was spelling it out in something that they shared with Honorable Sarah Nutburn in May 18th of 2022. And John Deaton says here, everyone in crypto should read footnote 5 below. In October 2013, Chris Larsen met with various regulators to give a presentation at the United States Treasury Department. So it was at the Department for the Treasury, but they met with various regulators all in the same building. And guess which regulator was also there? This is in 2013. Yeah, I know you know which one. So U.S. Treasury Department sharing with them Ripple's vision for a global payment system and cross-border payments based on blockchain technology. So I'm going to read this with you guys, and then I'm going to go over John Deaton's interpretation of said thing, okay? Which one of these kind of laid it out? It is a little freaking alarming. I have to tell you, it is a little alarming. Let's go through this real quick here. I mean, the look, that's not what I want. Where is the one that shares? Hold on a second, guys. I just had the dang old thing. Because there's one that's better, easier to read than the other one. Come on. Anyway, let me read it here. Ripple engaged with regulators about XRP, yet the SEC failed to act for 7 years. And see, there it is right here. There it is right here. In October, this is Ripple. Again, this was done in May 18th of 2022, but Ripple was pointing out what happened. Ripple's 2013 meeting with the SEC. Ripple's 2013 meeting with the SEC and other regulators. Same room, same building, same event. In October 2013, defendants Chris Larsen, then CEO of Ripple, made a presentation to the SEC and other regulators about Ripple and XRP. Indeed, it is undisputed, and the SEC admitted in response to RFA 490 that representatives of Ripple met with members of the SEC and other United States regulatory agencies on or about October 29th of 2013. The SEC, however, has improperly refused to answer all other RFAs relating to the October of 2013 meeting. The October of 2013 meeting is important to defendants' fair notice defense because it shows that from the beginning, Ripple engaged with regulators from the beginning, including the SEC, about XRP. Yet the SEC failed to act for over 7 years. until the filing of its complaint in this action. The presentation deck that Ripple used with the regulators at the October 2013 meeting, a copy of which an SEC employee who attended the meeting specifically requested, and was provided by Ripple on November of 2013. Described XRP as a currency, explained XRP's utility as a payment protocol, and describes Ripple's ongoing distributions of XRP. And in this document to Judge Torres, the Judge Netborn, I believe, in 2022 of May, just last month, it says CRPLI _ RFAs 491 through 506 seek admissions regarding undisputed facts about that meeting, including that someone from the SEC attended, the fact that following the meeting, the SEC never told Ripple or Mr. Larson in 2013 or 2014 that they needed to register sales of XRP. It says CRFA 499 and 500. And the fact that the SEC has not produced in this action any records reflecting that it gave feedback to Ripple or Mr. Larson in connection with the presentation. The SEC responded to all of these RFAs by claiming that the SEC lacks sufficient information to admit or deny them. So again, this is Gary Gensler's SEC. The SEC's response is facially inadequate. These RFAs seek information that is within the SEC's knowledge and supported by record evidence. Moreover, the SEC must conduct a reasonable inquiry to respond to RFAs, which includes conducting inquiries of employees, agents, and others who may have relevant information, including in certain circumstances, former employees. It says here, see a former case, the SEC versus Thrasher, blah, 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 right? Even if the SEC's reasonable inquiry were somehow to leave it unable to respond to these RFAs about straightforward facts, the SEC would have to provide detailed explanation as to why the SEC cannot admit or deny them. Right, and they're giving case studies, right? The answer must state in detail why the answering party cannot truthfully admit or deny it. It is sufficient to assert in conclusory terms that after, okay, so that's cool, inquiry. All right, it is sufficient to enable it to respond. It says here the SEC has failed to explain at all, let alone in detail, why it cannot respond to RFAs that go directly to matters within its control, instead relying on boilerplate assertions about its lack of knowledge or information. It says here that what the counsel for Ripple and Brad is requesting here, it says relief sought. The SEC should be ordered to amend its responses to these FRAs. If the SEC persists in claiming that it lacks sufficient information to respond, it should be required to supplement its responses. Here's note 5, and this is just, again, let me see which way is it better to show it. Because John says everyone in crypto should see note 5 here. This is, again, Ripple Powerless to Judge Netberg, May 18th, 2022. At least that's the date on it, right? It says the meeting also had participants for the Treasury Department, the Federal Reserve, the FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the National Credit Union Administration. Again, the meeting also had participants. National Credit Union Administration, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the IR-S, Internal Revenue Service, the Conference of State Bank Supervisors, the FTC, for crying out loud, the Federal Trade Commission, FinCEN, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, the Office of Foreign Assets Control, Federal Bureau of Investigations, and the United States State Department. The State Department. The SEC says here in footnote, it has also asserted without elaboration that certain of these FRAs are vague or unduly burdensome. Not so. They are clearly defined and relate to a single specific meeting. Admissions are also supported by information within the SEC's possession and by documents that Ripple produced to the SEC, including an email chain in which an SEC employee stated that he had attended the presentation. So not only was the SEC there, the Treasury Department was there, right? Federal Reserve, all these people, a representative from all of those departments were there. They were there. They were there, and the SEC never, 2013 or 2014, said anything. The presentation, I mean, let me read to you what John Deaton is saying here, because it is over freaking unbelievable to me. Here's what John Deaton says. Everyone in crypto should read footnote 5 below. In October of 2013, Chris Larson met with various regulators to give a presentation at the U.S. Treasury Department's sharing with them Ripple's vision for a global payments system and cross-border payments based on blockchain technology. So not only was a representative from the SEC there, but someone from the SEC also asked for more information, and they sent like a copy of the slideshow or presentation that Chris used, sent it to the SEC employee. So at this meeting, says John Deaton, Ripple provided these regulators with a slide deck. The slides informed regulators that Ripple was actively engaged in a distribution of XRP, an ongoing distribution of XRP. In short, in 2013, 7 years before this lawsuit was filed, Ripple ratted on themselves to the United States government, who was at this meeting wherein Ripple disclosed and admitted to ongoing sales of XRP. John lists, he says, here's the list. Not only was the SEC at the meeting, but so was the US Treasury, the Federal Reserve, the FDIC, the NCUA, the CFPB, IRS, I read all those places, right? FinCEN, the FBI, OFAC, the FTC, every freaking regulator that you can think was there in this meeting. 2 years after Ripple showed the United States government how it was selling XRP and what it planned to do with XRP and the XRP ledger by leaving a copy of the slideshow with the particular regulators or representatives of this particular regulator. FinCEN and the Department of Justice provided the first regulatory classification of any crypto by declaring XRP a convertible virtual currency, quote, unquote. Ripple entered a settlement with FinCEN, agreeing to register XRP sales not with the SEC, but with FinCEN, and comply with not securities laws, but banking laws. And that's what they have been doing. Interesting side note, Katie Hahn, who went to Andreessen Horowitz, signed the deal on behalf of the Department of Justice. By the way, the SEC now claims that Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Lawson were reckless in not knowing XRP was a security in 2013. Reckless. While Larson was giving that presentation to the SEC that XRP was, in fact, a currency. That is the madness of it all. You go to the United States Treasury Department and have a meeting with all of the United States regulators. And you explain it to them. You lead them all slideshows. The SEC is in attendance at this thing. A couple of years later, if you will, FinCEN and the Department of Justice provide both of them, classification of this particular crypto as a convertible virtual currency. Nothing from the SEC, not a thing. And some years later, there's a lawsuit brought saying that Ripple was selling unregistered securities. That's the SEC. And I'm gonna let you hear a video again from Darren Moore that explains the real deal, like we've been saying on this channel, the real deal. And I kind of like to summarize it in saying, JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs of the world, right? Cities of the world are not concerned about Shiba Inu. And guess what? That's a meme coin. And they're not concerned about a legitimate, amazing project that could become bigger than Ethereum, and that's Cardano. They are not concerned about Cardano either. They're not concerned about EOS. They're not concerned about IOTA. They're not concerned about Flare Network and its awesome technology. No, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs of the world, Citibank of the world are concerned about the company Ripple and its assets that it uses, XRP, the XRP ledger, RippleNet, and OD freaking L. That's what they're concerned about. And you're going to hear from this video that the banking regulators is the problem. Again, I apologize for the slow internet, but I think it's massively to understand that this is where the fight is, right? And it's been this way for a long time. The banking regulators, the top, remember JP Morgan, what, second largest in the world, not number one in the US, bank, things like this. The United States capital market is the biggest in the world. The banks and the banking regulators control it. They control the government. I'm just gonna say it. You got to get the bigger picture in that and the bigger fight. The bigger picture and the bigger fight. And that Jay Clayton and Gary Gensler were sent to the SEC to serve their needs. I mean, bottom line.
Time is always now. It's one of those things that we discover when we stop talking to ourselves and stop thinking. We find there's only present, only an internal now. Alan Watts.
So KYC utility that we're working around also in the Nordics would be harmonizing and really simplifying things for customers to onboard themselves to banks, where we can collaborate with fintechs and become so much more agile.
Okay, and I also know that SEB is working with Ripple in cross-border payments. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you're doing with Ripple? Again, what are the benefits?
So we are exploring the DLT. We are not yet using any crypto or so. We are not fit for that yet, we believe. But on the DLT, we are exploring how the benefits look, and also how to connect those to legacy systems, as we have to live with both for quite a long time probably. So the benefits is 2 seconds. Before this year, actually we talked about this last year, it was only one customer on it then. Now we have all customers of SEB doing transfer intercompany between Sweden and the US. They are on the Ripple platform. So we have a couple of billion going through that, and we are trying to understand how that goes and what we would need to make it happen even better, and also in the future exploring what could be the next step of this. So it's really exciting, and our IT people are all over this. I think it's a good idea, so I'm happy that business and IT are collaborating on something really new.
This is Paula De Silva. She worked at SEB when they partnered with Ripple and then moved to P27, which is a consortia of Nordic banks. This consortia is creating a cross-border payments platform between Denmark, Sweden, and Finland. SEB is one bank in P27. So is Nordea. Nordea is involved with P27. They were also involved in a 2016 proof of concept that tested the XRP ledger with R3 and 12 other banks. Roman Dahl from Nordea Bank states, by developing blockchain with native digital assets specifically dedicated to cross-border transactions, Ripple has great potential to revolutionize traditional global payments concepts, enabling international payments in real time. Paula De Silva states, by using Ripple's distributed financial technology, our customers can initiate real-time transfers between their SEB accounts in Sweden and the bank's branch in New York. In the next step, we plan to expand the solution to include all geographies and time zones in which we operate.
So the difference that we will be trying to do is to enable this for the banking industry, and actually in an open market for all kind of players that make the resilience efforts that we are trying to create. So it's not a closed area, it's open for everyone. So that's the difference between potential stable coins that are trying to create their own universe, everyone. This is an open one for all the different countries. So enabling growth, enabling resilience, but also creating, which I think is extremely important. If we just disregard technology, we have to be interoperable, and that's, I think, what TIPS is also enabling. Having the central banks being able to talk to each other in Europe is extremely important, of course, irregardless of if it has to be an FX on top of it. At least you have to have a way of talking to each other, and we don't have that today. And we have Swish in Sweden. We have Vips in Norway, we have mobile pay in Denmark, and you have Sirto in Finland, all extremely good. Nothing talks to each other. So while everyone in Sweden that is included in the financial sector, and that's also an issue, how can we include everyone? CDBC doesn't help that, because if you're not in a bank account environment, you don't have a bank ID, you cannot actually access the next infrastructure either. So financial inclusion is extremely important. That might mean that you have a way of entering the market that is more open somehow.
Yeah, and so interoperability is a major key. And I just, what Ripple is doing, right? And Ripple with RippleNet is displacing, right? Not getting rid of. You'll hear Mark Yusko say, that JP Morgan is. This is Mark Yusko saying this, right? We'll hit the dude who hooked up with Anthony Pompliano, saying that JP Morgan and those types are essentially done, but they're not going to go down fighting. What RippleNet is allowing to do, other countries and other banks to do, is to replace, like give them a fighting chance to replace the JP Morgans and the cities of the world who rely on the friction in the payment space. You got to get it. They rely on the friction in the payment space. That's how they make their money. I mean, and it's significant. So does MasterCard and Visa in a lot of ways. And you're going to hear that as well. And RippleNet is the disruptor, right? That is the ultimate bottom line here. Darren Moore put this in the description. Nordic banks like SCB and Nordea have piloted XRP. Now they are moving to an open cross-border platform that is called P27. This is instant and it's ISO 20022 standardized. There is interoperability between P7 and Europe's TIPS, the TIP system. These walled gardens are opening, and XRP is positioned to be used between jurisdictions that allow digital asset settlement. Technology is deflationary as we have record high inflation. Instant payments domestically would save consumers 2%. That is a major chunk of inflation just by allowing digital asset innovation. What happens to the global economy when all the frictions are removed? It's an amazing question. The economy can prosper. The transformation is underway. And before digital assets swallow the old economy, they will be used to bandage it. Well said, my friend. Well said and nicely, very, very nicely done. Again, JP Morgan, Goldman, cities of the world are not concerned about Dogecoin. Yeah, tell me about another amazing project, Flare Networks, amazing what they're going to do. They're not concerned with them. Ripple, because of the digital asset XRP and the XRP ledger, is their biggest threat, and they're not going to go down fighting. The payment space is the space. And when you can get rid of 2% of inflation by merely making the cross-border space more efficient, it's massive. It is absolutely massive. You're going to hear some numbers in the payment space that is going to shock you in terms of GDP. It's going to shock you. Again, forgive me for my poor internet service.
P27 is an open platform that allows Nordic countries to send cross-border payments in real time. This open platform is also interoperable with Europe's payment system called TIPS.
And we're a network. We're trying to facilitate these transactions. So initially we feel that there are more people willing to pay with cryptocurrencies. There isn't as much of an acceptance network as of now, but we think it's coming. So as a result, we said, okay, well, let's at least get ready to set up the stage. And doing so, we're working with a number of different partners, with Ripple, TBS, different companies around the world to say, well, how can you help this whole transaction go from front to back? We've set up all the networks, we're ready to go.
We set up all the networks and we're ready to go. MasterCard CEO, we want to make buying and selling crypto as easy as possible. We want to make buying crypto as easy as possible. You're going to hear some things about MasterCard and Visa. I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind. Make sure you stay to the end because it is unfreaking believable.
MasterCard as well as Visa are evolving. They have moved to creating a CBDC platform as well as infrastructure. Ripple has partnered with MasterCard in order to set up the stage.
Data is what we need to have in the system, not for every bank, bank or for every country, but actually cross country so that you can identify the receiver and the payer, and therefore.
Come on.
For P27 is actually an infrastructure that is not only Nordic, but it's actually built on when the card companies have understood that their good margin is threatened, they are looking into enabling payments. And our infrastructure will actually be built on MasterCard payment rails. So that's an enigma how that has come about. But with the regulator, as you said, coming about saying that, no, you can't have those margins, that
the regulators have been coming in lately more and more and more and saying, look, there's a war going on, inflation, the economy, supply chains, whatever you want to call it. It's coming in and saying, you guys can no longer, this is the MasterCard and Visa, you guys can no longer have this type of margin, right? The money, right, that you're making. You gotta shrink it. This is one of the reasons why MasterCard and Visa are doing the things that they're doing. And because the regulators are saying, look, there's this thing out here. There's this monster of a company called Ripple, and they got this thing called RippleNet. And they're going to make payments and cross-border payments and all of this done. And they're going to make it accessible to all these other different countries and entities, SMEs, SMBs, money transmitters businesses for less than a penny. What's going to happen when the world finds this out? And they understand what you guys are charging? How can we'll be out of a job. There'll be mutiny on the streets. You're gonna have to cut these margins. That is what's going on. That is what Ripple, the company, and its technology is doing. RippleNet, ODL, based upon XRP, right? And the XRP ledger. The ILP is going to be a game changer. RippleNet is going to be a game changer. This is what's going on. This is what's going on. And if I said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. You're going to sit here and tell me that Japan and Singapore, the monetary authority of Singapore, that the Bank of England, that the UK, you're going to tell me that UAE and all the nations there and whatever, they're going to leverage this technology to better their economy and the people in their economy? They're going to use the XRP ledger. They're going to be on RippleNet. They're going to use XRP eventually to better their economy. And the United States is going to let a good old US of A company not? US of A company and US is not going to use it? That's the challenge. And right now, JP Morgan is saying, no, give us a shot. Give us a chance. We'll figure it out. That's why Ethereum. That's why the consensus and the quorum hookup. Do you see what I'm saying? That is the fight. That is the fight. And it feels like it's going to be a long one. Which I think is interesting that Jimmy Valley is proposing what he's proposing, because that could end the fight in a big time way. Because the Treasury, United States Treasury, could be like, look, it's here. The technology is here and it's available and it's a good old US of A company. Where you at, JP Morgan? Tell me about this JPM coin. What's it doing? Can your little thing that you got going on move anything of value? Answer is no. Can your little thing that you got going on, can it move anything of value in 3 to 5 seconds? The answer is no. Tell me, JP Morgan, and your JPM coin, and you're hooking up with, selling Quorum, the consensus, and tell me about what can you guys move anything of value in 3 to 5 seconds for less than a penny? And the answer is no. And the other thing that it spells the game over, the other thing that puts the check mark in game over just amount of time is JP Morgan is just one, Citi is just one, Goldman's is just one. And the other 9,990 banks are tired of paying for playing. You see what I'm saying? That's why I've always said that Ripple strategy was genius emotion. It's a blue ocean strategy. And they said, they just realized that 9,900 is bigger than one. One of you guys can become the next whatever. I don't know. And the other nations of the world, like, we got to look out for us and our economy. The US banks have ruled for the world for a long time. It hasn't been great for us. That's what's going on. I mean, you just got to really take it in your soul and in your gut and realize that anything of value in 3 to 5 seconds for less than a penny is game changer. It's done. Regulators, like this lady said, told MasterCard and Visa, and JP Morgan, they got a relationship with the regulators right now. Right? But the writing's on the wall. And JP Morgan is doing the best that they can to fill the pockets of Congress, and the regulators are doing best that they can to stall and stall and stall and stall. Just ask Caitlin Long. She has had to sue the United States, the Federal Reserve, has to sue them. Because they're delaying and delaying and freaking delaying. Who do you think is in control?
It has created other ways of actually interacting in the payment space. So what are we trying to do? Enabling growth, basically, in a seamless way, because today payments is potentially the hinder for growth, which is kind of interesting. It's difficult to pay, as you very well said.
Payments are hindering growth. The regulators are forcing Visa and MasterCard to lower fees. This is why they're evolving into infrastructure. 2% of GDP is paid to Visa and MasterCard. We have 8% inflation just by eliminating credit card fees.
And someone's going to say this again. He said it here. I'm going to let you listen to another person say it. But just think about that in the United States. 2% of the gross domestic product of a nation goes to 2 companies, Visa and MasterCard. Of GDP, ladies and gentlemen, of GDP.
We can drop inflation to 6%. Now think about what would happen if you dropped cross-border fees. This is the impetus for banks and governments to embrace digital assets.
For the Eurozone, the fees for debit and credit cards amount to 1.6% of GDP.
God.
Let me say this again. If you take the Eurozone GDP and you say, well, how much of that GDP goes to credit card? It's 1.6%. All of that, billions of dollars going to Visa and MasterCard. All of that could go to humanity to do more. And ready? Wait for it. In the US, this number I'm 100% sure of, It's 2.2% of GDP goes to credit card fees.
It's crazy.
And it's crazy. So every time that you buy a coffee and you tap and pay, what you're really missing is that your local coffee shop has to increase the prices of the coffee to make sure that, you know, he's recovering, you're paying for those fees. And, you know, what's really horrible about it is, and most people don't even think about this, is that those fees are highly regressive. Rich people who have the latest iPhone and think they're cool by using Apple Pay because they've got the latest gizmos, right? Mm-hmm. They don't really care about that 2%. It's not bothering them. But the people on the opposite side, ready, who don't have that iPhone and are actually paying cash because they are humble people, they are paying that 2% or whatever it is in addition to their payment. In other words, if they're buying that coffee, they're still paying that extra couple of percent that the coffee shop has to tack on. It is extremely regressive. It hurts the bottom part who has this automatic tax put onto everything, and the top part of the economy, including our central bankers, our central bankers who are wealthy people, they don't care. Mm-hmm. So for them, they say repeatedly, central bank digital currency is a problem looking for a solution. We don't see how it could possibly help anyone. Meanwhile, the bottom half of our society, or more than the bottom half, you know, they're looking and they're paying these fees for credit card, even though they're using cash.
Technology is deflationary. I don't need a navigation system or a camera or an MP3 player. I have a cell phone. This one item replaces everything. That in turn is deflationary because I'm not spending money on an MP3 player. We have a battle with inflation, and just by eliminating fees, we can reduce inflation by 2%. Digital assets like XRP allow cross-border payments to happen in real time for a fraction of a penny. By removing frictions alone, everyone benefits, including governments and central bankers during this high period of inflation.
And that is the key, by removing friction, right? And so this is, again, global friction. It benefits everyone, every single person, including governments and central banks. That, again, the banks of the world, top 8, 10 banks of the world have benefited from the friction in the system, and to the tune of God knows how much. When JP Morgan can brag about in a quarter earning billions of dollars in profit in a quarter profit. Think about that. One company, billions of dollars in profit in a quarter, not in a year, in a quarter, profit. Because of the friction, you can, I call it the no, the not using your account, the no activity fees. The fee to open up an account and probably to even close the doggone thing. All of these fees, friction. And Ripple represents just something significantly different that just relieves the bank payment system of this friction. That's the big fight, guys. It really is. That is the big fight. And the other countries of the world are saying, you know what? We're done with that system. We're done with that system. David Schwartz is going to tell you the real deal here in a few minutes. And I'm telling you, that's the real deal. It's the real deal of what's going on. And it's just the genius in motion play. This is the best play ever.
So first on competition, I had a lot of pushback from the Bank Policy Institute chief economist Bill Nelson, saying there are thousands of banks in the US banking system. How can you say that the banking system is not competitive? The Herfindahl indices suggest otherwise. But it's not the degree of concentration that matters in this case. It's the cost of switching from one bank to another, whether to open or close an account.
You see what I'm saying? So that the dude in the glasses had made an argument. He said that there is no competition in the United States banking. There's no competition. It's a monopoly, right? And it's like we said on this channel before, when the world screams that we hate the banks, they need to recognize that they're talking about eight banks, roughly. It is not the other 9,990 banks. It's not. Those banks pay to play. They have to pay to participate in the banking system. They got to pay to participate. That's why this dude made the argument that there is no such thing as competition, because he understands, no, it's about 5-8 banks. And they create friction and more friction and more friction. And he's pointing it out. The banks got to pay to hang out with one another. You got to pay if you got to pay if you choose to move from one bank to another. You have to pay. And they'll say it's an administration fee, opening an account fee, all of this madness. Why? How is someone going to get away with charging you because you got an account and you just simply want to leave your money there? And they're saying, we're going to charge you if you don't use the ATM a certain amount of times. We're going to charge you if you don't make a certain amount of withdrawals and transactions, deposits on your account. We're going to charge you for that. Just think about that. And we have become just conditioned to be good with it, to be okay with that. We got influencers talking about how they're saving cash in the bank. I mean, think about that. And then not mention a word about decentralized finance or the idea of it. I mean, just think about, are you getting charged for not using your account? We've become conditioned to ATM fees. I mean, I just can't think of a crazier notion than, look, Mr. So-and-so, you have saved for years. You have had this account for years. And we just recognized about the last 90 days that you haven't been using your account. And so we had to charge you for that. In fact, not only will they charge you, there are times where they will ask you to tell you to shut down the account because you haven't been using it.
Also, I don't know if you've ever tried to move funds from one bank to another. I'm not sure how the experience is in Sweden. You have direct transfers here, but in the United States, if you launch a request on a bank website to move funds to another bank, it's actually quite an operation. So it's the competition that would come from a central bank digital currency or an interoperable fast payment system or other, let's say, neobanks and
Come on, laptop. This guy's
the system would be not to only to add more players to the market, but to lower the walls around the walled gardens.
Not only add more players, right? Add more players. So there's competition, right? So the stuff starts to go down in terms of fees. But he said also it starts to bring down the walls of walled gardens. So he said not only will CBDCs do that, but these interoperable payment systems like neobanks and like what RippleNet is doing. Again, guys, that's where the fight is. Just want to understand, is XRP the greatest digital asset ever created? 100%. Is the XRP ledger probably the greatest creation ever? 1,000%. But there's a battle, there's a big time fight going on, which again is why I love what Jimmy Valley did. Because it may be a long shot, but it's an opportunity to realize the value of what you hold without having to wait for this fight to be over. They're not going down easily. They can usher someone, in front of the POTUS so POTUS can usher that person to the front of the room. Like hashtag Gary Gensler. And fight and fight and fight. There's a reason why hashtag Gary Gensler is not your friend was meeting with Jay Clayton. There's a reason for that. Goldman's from Gary Gensler from Goldman. Clayton from wherever he was from as well. That look, why would Clayton or Gensler be concerned or be on the side of this new start? Why would they? When they cut their teeth for Wall Street and go in the likes of Goldman's, who do you think they're beholden to? Who do you think are their buds? It ain't Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse. That I can tell you. Listen, boys and girls, that's the fight. And you got to understand it. Well, again, Jimmy Valley put a proposal out there, okay, for the realized value. We just heard saving 2% of inflation. And then you throw on the additional thing from cross-border payments, the savings there, by relieving friction. There's a value in the asset XRP. There's a value in the XRP ledger, being able to collateralize anything of value. That's massive. I mean, it's massive. And we hold this asset, which means we have access, right? There's a value to that ledger that we hold. You think about 2.2% in fees of the GDP from MasterCard. Do you understand what's going on here? And what if a certain nation and or regulator and or department has that XRP now and understands that value and do you see what I'm saying? There's massive value in it. It's massive. I showed you a text or thread email from Arthur Brittle saying that it was designed to last for, there's plenty of XRP to be around for thousands of years. Just a global economic crisis going on with the war, with inflation, with the central bank governments of the world are broke and broken and have no idea how to fix, how to put in place an economic policy, monetary policy that works. They don't have a clue.
that currently surround the largest banks to make it easier to swish, if you don't mind the metaphor, to swish your money from one bank to another.
Banks have updated their infrastructure to create more open systems. These updated systems are necessary in order to utilize digital assets.
The problem that we encountered, I mean, we kind of thought that we could take a direct line to settling with a digital asset, and I think a lot of people thought that, well, now we have digital assets, let's just use them for payments and that'll be that. Part of the problem is that the payment systems are just not capable of supporting instantaneous settlement. So if you think about a payment system like SWIFT, where you just kind of push a payment message out, and you don't necessarily know the entire path, and you don't know the fees until later. You don't even know if the destination account even exists until sometime later when the payment is actually processed by the destination institution. There's no way that you could build instantaneous settlement into a system like that. So we kind of found ourselves in this situation where if we wanted institutions to settle their international payments with a digital asset, we first had to rebuild the payment messaging, sort of the plumbing. And we discovered something interesting on the way. What we discovered was that the existing plumbing was so bad, I mean, it dates back to batch computing days, that just improving that messaging was a product. That was something.
Just improving the messaging system, the infrastructure was a product itself. That's why Brad Garlinghouse and CNN or CNBC or MSNBC said, we are in fact a blockchain infrastructure company. So not only can we provide this asset that can settle, not only can we provide this asset that can, and this ledger that can move anything of value in 3 to 5 seconds for less than a penny, we can build infrastructure. We can build the infrastructure, and right, we can replace the plumbing of this ancient infrastructure system that the few banks, like the last dude was saying, are monopolizing. Ripple is the greatest threat, right? And that's why it's going to become that $1 trillion company, because it has everything in place to do so. They have everything in place to do so. So that is the biggest threat, right? And so if we got to go the conventional way and allow on a favorable settlement or a judgment, and then let the market and all, that's going to take some time because of the fight that's going on. Just got to understand that. Just like Ashish Burla said, it's going to take longer than we thought. In other words, to recognize, to benefit from the realized value of this asset that is XRP, it is going to take some time. It's going to take some time. So I don't know what the whole Jimmy Valley thing is, but I got to tell you, to get the realized value of XRP in the ledger, years and years ahead of it would be phenomenal. Otherwise, we'll have to hang out in a regular market participant space in a fight with the world largest, with the some of the world's largest banks. In a fight where every year, every day, every month, and every year, they can continue to usher people to the front of the room, and they can slow down things. Just ask Caitlin Long. She's suing the fact that they're slowing. They have something that they want to introduce, right? Obviously, it's blockchain based, and she had to sue them because they keep stalling her, and she knows that they're stalling. Why? Because it's a product that can help reduce friction. And remember, the top banks, right? Type 5-8 banks of the world. That's how they make their money. It's the bigger picture, guys. It's just a bigger picture. All right, guys, look, that kind of wraps up the XRP Ripple daily news in around 0 to 10 minutes. I hope it has been of value to you. Shout out to Darren Moore, that dude. Phenomenal. For this video is just phenomenal, right? Because it wakes us up. And it's important to understand that. It really really, really is. And I think it's fair to say that we might not realize the true value in terms of price. We might not realize that for years and years and years, because there's a fight. And it's with some of the most powerful people in the world. All right, guys, I'm going to end this video like I do all of my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather that we remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating, or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it.